What up, guys? The Bench Buddies are back with my Week 20 NASCAR Power Rankings here, and let's get into it. 34 through 36, your usual suspects down here. And, there's nothing really much to say. Obviously, Riley Herbst had the best finish out of these three, finishing 25th, but they're long shots to even get close to the playoffs at this point. 31 through 33. And these guys, yet again, are long shots to make the playoffs. But Justin Haley, another solid finish, his first one since May. And he also recorded the fastest lap, which I think is probably going to be forget about. And so I got to mention it here for him. Todd Gilliland just keeps free falling. And Cole Custer, yet another right around 20 finish on consistency. That's what he's done all year. 28 through 30. Now, Ty Dillon just keeps on moving up, bumping drivers out of the way to keep advancing in the in-season challenge. And he moves on yet again. And, it's great to see that a driver like him is getting all this recognition at this point in the season. Obviously, that's all he's pretty much racing for at this point in the season. And same with John Hunter Nemechek. Most these two guys are probably out of it unless Hunter Nemechek goes on a run here. But they both move on to the next round. And, at this point, it's kind of what they're racing for, like I said. And then Ricky Stenhouse Jr., talk about the playoffs. This guy was in the playoffs, I think, almost 8 races ago, maybe less than that. And since he has just spiraled out of control downhill, and here he ends up at 28th in my power rankings and obviously 24th in the point standings. 25 through 27, Austin Dillon moves up a few, Hocevar moves down, and Suarez moves up. And obviously Suarez, we can leave it up there for the rest of the year. He's done at Trackhouse end of the year, 2 wins. Maybe he can somehow scratch his way and get a third, but who knows? Hocevar still looking for his first after back-to-back finishes outside the top 30. And then Austin Dillon, like I said, he's just looking for any success at this point. So 21 at finish, it's not that bad for him, but obviously he's looking for a little better. 24 through 22, Austin Cindric, after his win at Talladega, it's just pretty much went downhill for him. He's nothing really going right for him. In a few races, he gets a stage win here and there, but just seems like his finishing is just not the best here in the last few weeks. Eric Jones, huge fall from him. Great few weeks, falls right back to where he was in the points after a bad race. And Zane Smith, he had a decent run going, but then he had a penalty kind of late, and he just never could really recover from that. 19 through 21, Josh Berry, 13th place. He's kind of coasting in the playoffs, but he's putting in some all right finishes. It's right around that top 10, or it's really bad. At least I think so in the last few weeks. Keselowski, he needs a win. He pretty much, I would say, blew his best chance at a win already this year, a few weeks ago. And then AJ Allmendinger, he's right there above or right under the cup line, and he's given it all he's got these last few weeks here. I think he could be the one that, you could look out for to possibly steal a race. 16 through 18 here, Bubba Wallace, Kyle Busch, and Michael McDowell. Bubba's just slowly just letting his playoff chances slip away. Another bad finish for him. And you have guys like Kyle Busch, who's right there, only 40 points behind him. Keeps on putting together some solid races, like you can see down there, consecutive top tens for the first time since the beginning of the year. Michael McDowell, kind of same way. He's put together some very good races. Sonoma obviously was very good for him, finishing fourth. But before that in Chicago, he was putting together a good race before he got knocked out and raced some pretty good races here. But in the next week, going into Dover, you can see that hasn't finished inside the top 15 at Dover once in 24 tries. Maybe 25th time's the charm. Who knows? But he really needs it if he wants to keep making up those points and possibly get into the playoffs. 13 through 15, you get the back-to-back winner in the Cup Series right now, and Shane Van Gisbergen. He's now at 3 wins this year, won all 3 road courses, and he just keeps on dominating. Now we go to the Monster Mile, and his odds are all the way down in 24th at plus 10,000 to win this race. So it shows you how dominant he is at road courses compared to normal tracks. Ty Gibbs, on the other hand, keeps putting together solid finishes and getting his name right back into the ring. And he could be the guy that I think not steals a playoff berth, but I think he could steal a win just because he's been racing so well. You can see their 8.5 average finish over the last 6 races. So his team is, just going right upward at the right time, just like he is in this power rankings. And Alex Bowman got bumped out of the way to move on in the in-season challenge, but he's on the bubble and he's just got to keep putting together probably top 20s to really keep his footing here and not really lose too much track position. But I think he's another guy just like Gibbs. I think one of these two guys is going to get a win before the playoffs start. 10 through 12, and that's my third guy at 12 that I think could get a win is Ryan Preece. Only one finish outside the top 15 since the first race in May at Texas. So he's putting together quality finishes time and time again, but he just can't finish in first. Maybe this is the week where he can do so. I mean, he's plus 5,500 to win this week with the 18th best odds, but anything can happen here at the Monster Mile. Chastain and Logano are 11 and 10, and I don't think people are talking about Logano enough for what he's doing. He had a bad 5 race skid, but here he finished in the top 10. He goes into Dover, 12th best odds to win the race. Chastain, he has the 7th best odds to win the race. So these guys are right there. They just need to put it all together, and I think they can get one more win. One of these guys in this area here, I think, is going to get at least one more win. And the guy that hasn't got a win that more than likely is the favorite to get a win is Chris Buescher. I mean, he just can't finish at the race. He just can't finish at the end. And unfortunately for him, he does have a little cushion there in the point standings, but he's got the 13th best odds to win this week. Maybe this is the week where he can finally get it done after coming in second a few times this year. Blaney is at 8th. Maybe that's still a little too high after his recent, outbursts. Same with Larson. Maybe I could drop him a little lower as well. These guys, I think, are just too consistent at what they do, no matter if it's good or bad, that I don't think I can drop them after a few races, even though Larson has struggled here in the last few weeks. 4 through 6. Obviously, Denny is the favorite going into Dover. With his history at Dover, he's very good at this track. Christopher Bell finishes in the top 5 for the 8th time this year. Can he get back in the win column this year after his 3 straight? He's put together some solid races here in recent weeks. I think Chase Briscoe, he keeps on building that momentum, finishing second. No one really saw that coming at Sonoma, but here he is going into Dover, 9th best odds to win at plus 1,600. You can see the 1 through 9, it's plus 500 to plus 1,600. So all these guys, I think, are kind of fighting for that win. And I don't think it's going to be any of these guys. I think it is going to be one of those guys that has longer odds, just because anything can happen here in these last few weeks. And I wouldn't be shocked if we see at least one more new winner. And with that, maybe it's Tyler Reddick. He's at 2 in my rankings, third straight top 6 finish after Sonoma. So 2 road course top 6s. And then before that, obviously, Atlanta top 6 there. And he's put together some very solid racing. Obviously, he's going to make the playoffs no matter what happens here in these last few weeks with that big cushion. He's obviously the top guy that doesn't have a win. And that's why he's up so high. And Chase Elliott at 1. Obviously, since he finally won, he's put together some good races since. And then William Byron just keeps on doing it, looking to recapture his dominance after an 8th place finish here at Sonoma. He right now currently has the 4th best odds to win at plus 750 at Dover. And with his history, in the recent weeks, him starting to build it back together, I wouldn't be shocked if he has a top 5 finish here. That's going to be it for my week 20 power rankings. Check back next week to see where your favorite driver ranks. Till the next time, the Bench Buddies are out.